Good. Hi, I'm Will Kreth, CEO of Hand, Human, and Digital here at the NAB Show floor in West Hall in the Propel Me Startup Zone, a special tech-based startup zone area for early-stage companies. Our company, Hand, Human, and Digital, is a 2-year-old startup based in New York, but most of my team is in Los Angeles. We are about talent identity in real and virtual worlds. Identity intelligence is what we call it here on the sign. It's the notion that the world of deepfakes has arrived, and the timeline we didn't choose, but the one we're in, is the one we're living through now. And Hand's Talent Identifier is here to help around the story of provenance automation, trying to be part of the provenance story of talent ID tagging and labeling, as opposed to the good folks working really hard on detection software that are looking to provide ways to attest to the whether identity of the media file is licensed or unlicensed, whether it's fraudulent or it's legitimate. We're here with a unique identifier standard under the ISO. The Hand Talent ID is a DOI handle ID. We've been at this for a long time, and I'll tell you how it started. I was the executive director of the Entertainment ID Registry in 2018. We were approached by one of the biggest talent agencies in the world, that was CAA, and they expressed to us and said, hey, Entertainment ID Registry, which is essentially the barcode for the film and TV industry, we love what you do for tagging and labeling theatricals and television series and seasons and episodes. Could you do the same thing with an indelible, persistent, unique identifier for talent, above-the-line credits in Hollywood? Actors, writers, directors, producers. Could you give them a machine-readable identifier at the standards level, not held by any one vendor or company, but actually a public ID that we could then interoperate with and have as a way to tag and label talent to automate the supply chain, the media supply chain. And so looking at talent through a new lens around as an object in the media supply chain was new at the time, but my board of directors at IDER said we'd love to do it, but there was no capital to do so. And then the pandemic comes along. Everyone changes jobs. Everyone moves on to new companies. I moved on to new companies. I was looking for doing what was next, because I also have a great kind of a sixth sense of looking out on the horizon of what's future-facing technologies. And I asked my colleagues in the industry at that point, hey, we talked a lot about Talent ID a couple of years ago. Did anyone ever build that? No. Do we still need a Talent ID? Yes. So it was a if not now, then when, if not who, me, then who story, where I explored the notion of I'm going to stand up a for-profit company taking a standards-based approach to registering talent that is notable talent that is quantifiably notable through their critical metrics of their citations, their works, their actual entities of the things they've done. It's a who you are, what you've done, and who says so story, as we quantify and measure the attestations of authenticity of talent and what makes them notable into a database that brings all that reputation information, reputation intelligence into a single manifest, unique, interoperable, resolvable identifier. And that identifier is forever, no expiration date on it. It's a persistent, unique ID that's used in the sciences, the DOI handle systems used in research and science, the building materials industry, and also our good friends at IDER, EIDR, my former company, won an Emmy Award last October for the Technical and Science Emmy in LA, and the team of IDER pulled that off after 13 years. We hope to eventually win an Emmy Award ourselves and take less time to do so. So an interoperable unique identifier is part of a payload of a container of attestations of authenticity. We work with the good folks at the C2PA, the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity, around verifiable credentials and trust lists of where does the image, the stream, or the video, and what's inside the video content, decomposing the payload of the video, and understanding more about the content within it, and the talent is one object, media object within that video stream. And so providing a unique identifier allows people to tag and label and verify through, just like an IP lookup. We want to be as ubiquitous as a barcode and as interoperable and resolvable as an IP address, right? So we all know how that world works and how successful and how much value that is driven in the industry across multiple disciplines. In the media supply chain, we're looking at ways to provide monetization of existing assets through the legacy content of tape libraries and archives, which are going to be used to train large language models, because they want licensed content that has been verified in the payloads of all the descriptive and technical metadata about the content that has been transferred from the archives to digital, and looking at ways in which talent can better representation to license consent-based digital replicas. In the SAG-AFTRA contract that was negotiated last year, because the actor strike went down, in December, there's a new carve-out, a new codified instantiation of digital replicas, employment-based digital replicas. Those entities, which will be talent, legal and natural people, will be able to negotiate their identity rights, their name, image, and likeness rights, will need to be tracked. They will need to be automated. And the story goes like this. If you can't identify it with machine-readable data, you can't automate it. Automation is the core goal here, to drive a system where interoperability and automation are at the forefront around both legal and natural people, their connected digital replicas, and fictional characters, because for every Spider-Man and Batman, we know they are interchangeably portrayed by different human beings. And there's a three-part identity graph there. The legal, the virtual, the fictional. Those things all work together today, giving them all tagged, labeled, interoperable, persistent IDs. Makes a lot of sense, and it did for CAA back in 2018 when they asked us to build it. Now I'm building it in the future and driving adoption and growing our customer base, and we're here at Tech Startup Zone trying to also raise seed capital. So that's where we're at in our journey.